Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing great. I wanted to talk about some of the transits that are going to be happening this week. We're going to be covering, in my tarot readings, we're going to be covering the 13th through the 19th. So I figured we would just discuss. I just want to get some sage going here. I think we could all use a little bit, right? Let's leave that hanging over here. So this is a really important week, I'm thinking, because a lot of what we were figuring out in the full moon is going to really start rearing its head and coming almost to like what I feel like is almost a crescendo, but rather quickly. So starting with the 13th, again, I'm looking down with some notes, and then at the end I'm going to pull some cards for the collective, but then I'm going to be doing my regular individual tarot reads for next week for each sign. But let's just get into talking about some of these transits, okay? So the 13th Monday is pretty much of a low-key in between, but I sort of feel like it's actually more of a gearing up day towards Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'm not going to lie, I always try to, give it to you guys straight. It might be it is going to be stressful on Tuesday and Wednesday, okay? These days are going to be a little challenging, and let's talk about why. So we have on the 14th, we have the last quarter moon in Capricorn. So whenever we have Capricorn, guys, remember, there's Saturn hanging out there. So that last quarter moon, for those of you who don't know, this is when exactly half of the moon is illuminated and the other half is shadowed. So remembering now that the moon is our emotions. It's I feel. It's where we process things. It rules the past. So this means that we're going to be called to action during this time. This is a rolling out again of that full moon. The full moon energies is really going to start poking at us in the biggest way on Tuesday. Now, it's not only because of this quarter moon in Capricorn, right? Although keep in mind, whenever we have Saturn, there's that slow push forward, right? It's karma. It's restriction. It's feeling like, oh, not everything is going exactly right now. So I want to just do like a lay of the land for Tuesday, just because it's a really big day. So we have, and then I'm gonna put it all together. We have the sun squaring Pluto. We have the moon sextiling Neptune, right, which is all about not seeing things clearly. We have the moon conjunct Pluto. I think that's like a really big deal there. Moon squaring the sun and the moon conjuncting Jupiter. What does all of that mean? Change is happening. It's really, really apparent. We feel it in the deepest recess of our soul. But the thing is, we have this lack of clarity inside all of this change. So we're feeling our outer world change for sure. We know that our inner world needs to change as well, but we're having a hard time reasoning through that. And this Tuesday in particular, it's really going to be about surrendering, accepting the past, releasing. It's not easy with the moon pushing here, because remember, we have that. Whenever we have the moon squaring the sun, the moon is our internal, the sun is our external, and when they're pushing against each other, it's like, here you have to come this way, and you're like, yeah, but I don't know if I want to go that way. I'm just not sure. And there's this resistance to a complete letting go, but guys, it's completely necessary, because a new normal is right here waiting to happen, and it's happening anyway. It really is happening. So really, this is about leaning. My advice here is about navigating these energies, leaning into the change and really moving past it and just accepting it. There are things that are going to be coming to light, right? Because when we have the moon conjunct Pluto, things are exposed, right? Because the moon hides everything, sort of, it's what we do in private. It's everything sort of underneath the surface, and Pluto is about, boom, exposing things, right? So, and I did mention this in the full moon video, that things are going to be coming to light. Now, there's a lot of change that's happening, and it's going to be happening a little bit for everyone a little differently. Obviously, on the global level, we're all going to remain in quarantine. It's just the way it is, right? If you're in an area that mandates that. For those set up to receive the stimulus checks, those should be coming in a little early this week, which is a good thing. But there's going to be a lot of change as well, as far as being pushed forward into understanding what the new normal is going to be like. And there's a lot of conversation going on right now about that. You know, movie theaters only allowing people to go in every third row, restaurants opening with a limited amount of tables, but what is all of that going to look like, and how is that all going to pan out? That's on that side. On a global level, a lot of things are going to be coming to light. But I actually, guys, I want to make this a little bit more about your personal astrology. A lot of people are dealing with the more mundane, the world, the global. So tune into them for that. Because for this week, I feel so strongly that we're all going to be feeling such incredible change in an interpersonal level. And I just want to address that, because it's not in your mind, you're not crazy, and it's not going to last forever, but this is all entirely necessary. So that's what's happening on the 14th. Again, this change is going to be it's going to be pushed. Now, you can resist it and have a really hard time with it, or you can accept it. Guys, this is the time where it's time to really accept the past. Whatever happened, that relationship that didn't work out, that job that didn't work out, that project that didn't come to fruition, whatever you were working on at the start of quarantine. I mean, and there's a laundry list. Movies had to stop being made. Projects were, you know, it's just an unbelievable amount of projects. I just know, personally, on my end, and I know you guys probably have your own lists of these things, right? So it is about this accepting what happened, what happened. And you know, really, this is about really coming to an acceptance of all of the change that started like 2.5 years ago. You know, and really working through all of this Capricorn energy and really accepting all of the changes that have really been sort of unfolding and revealing themselves. And they're just saying, okay, it is what it is. It's time to release it, and really focusing on moving past wherever you feel like your blocks have been. You know, and recognizing what could be fixed, and you know what could be fixed, right? We all know that, right? We know which relationships can be fixed, and not in our unrealistic sort of, right, the Neptunian energy that we've been in, where we want to set up these fantasy type of ideas where that relationship could work if only they did A, B, and C. Well, this is all about, guys, recognizing that we can only control ourselves. So unless you're dealing with an energy that is really equal to you, and they're in that same space with you, time for them to go. That job, they were promising you money, promising you the promotion, saying A, B, and C was going to be happening down the road, but it was like a lot of lip service more than anything else. Time to let it go and just refocus, understanding that things are going to be presenting themselves in a new way. Because remember, on the other side of Pluto, there is this rebirth. There's always the rebirth on the other side, but it's a matter of letting go, right? What we really need to let go of. So that's the 14th, and I'm going to say even into the 15th, because the 15th we have the moon passing Saturn as it squares Uranus, right? So, you know, moon, I feel Saturn, that restriction, right? Feeling very restricted. And then it's going to be squaring Uranus, which is all about change and things happening. So it's about you feeling this, but I don't want things to be so different. Like in some parts of your life, you may want things to be different and you're welcoming the change. And then in another part, it's like, you don't mind the change as long as the change could happen in a specific way. You know what I mean? And we just don't have that ability right now. And this is where faith really is so important. And we have to trust in the energies that we're going to be brought into that space that's just meant for us, you know, in such a more authentic way. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? And then on the 17th, we have Saturn in Aquarius. That's going to quincunx the true north node in Cancer. So the quincunx is formed between planets that are 150 degrees apart. All right, so in other words, these guys are not understanding each other. So we're talking about Saturn, and then we're talking about Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So there's going to be a real challenge here to find a common ground between what it is that makes you feel safe and the change. Here's the change. Here's your safety. And you're like, no, I don't feel safe. You know? So this is really going to take some redirecting, a lot of accepting, diverting, or adjusting, right? It really is about redirecting, diverting, and adjusting is what I want to say, right, is needed here. All right, because remember, Saturn in Aquarius, this is about us moving into a new normal that might not be easy or comfortable. And that true north node is in Cancer is about moving just towards that metaphorical home space, right, that I always talk about, like with the Chariot energy, right? It's that fourth house of home. But we're being forced to accept a new normal in our lives that will not align with what we know to be, I'm not even going to say true, but safe, because there's safety in familiarity, right? So this is really us needing to embrace this idea of, okay, there's no more quarantine's over. Let's go back to life. You know, we can go back to going to baseball games and football games and the movies and great dinners and going to the bar and whatever. There is not going to be any more of that for a long time until they, at least, guys, I mean, just from a scientific perspective, it's going to take around 18 months for them to come up with some sort of, anything that's solid. That's vaccine, by the way, was the word I couldn't remember in my last video. Any really good vaccine that we're all going to be able to get. So it's just, and by then we will have found another new normal. Do you know what I mean? So what was, and now we need to find a new normal so that society can start getting back out there. But it just may not look or feel as familiar as we would like it to, or maybe it might not change in a way that we would ideally hope it to. But this is about finding the gift in it, because man, is there a gift. You have to understand, really, whenever there's Saturn involved, there is a gift on the other side. There absolutely is. And you know, guys, I'm not even mentioning like the Venus is going into shadow. It's going to be hanging in Gemini for the next 4 months. There's going to be a lot going on wherever you have Gemini in your chart. We're going to have Venus there. But you know what? I think I'm going to address that in a separate video. I think I'm going to do that in a separate video because that's really big. But that this just occurred to me because this is all. Well, it actually kind of happened at the end of last week. But anyway, all right. So that's the 17th. Now, the 19th, we have the Sun entering Taurus. Okay, cool. You know, our centers, motivations, and drive will be focused on a really interesting mix here, I think. Because, again, those decisions that you struggled with that I was mentioning in the full moon energy, whatever it is that you have to, whatever you're being called to fix, and particularly, guys, know where your Capricorn placements are, because that's getting a lot of focus. So yes, Capricorn rules the 10th house of career, because a number of people have emailed me about that. Like, how does that work out if a certain sign rules a house, and then we have these kind of transits if we have, you know, that energy in another house? Well, it's in both. You have to really look at both. So yeah, I mean, everybody's looking at how they make money, right? Or what they're doing in life, right? Because 10th house is career, and we have all of this focus, this Capricorn focus. But also look at where you have that Capricorn placement in other charts. Like if you have Capricorn on the 7th, right? I mean, then you have Saturn in the 7th, so it's relationships. So you have to really look at your very close relationships, your partnerships. That could be your close work relationships, close family connections, and your intimate, your marriage partner and all of that. If it's your 6th house, it's your health. You really need to look at your health, and it's about addressing your everyday work environment, right? So I always go over the house placements. I went through it pretty extensively in my last video. So find that Capricorn placement. And just understand that that's where a lot of the changes, a lot of the decisions are going to be needing to be made. But back to the sun entering Taurus here, yeah, those decisions that you struggled with in the full moon in Libra energies will be made. Taurus is about stability, structure, security, reliability. But since it's ruled by Venus, it's everything Venusian, right? So Venus is where our self-esteem hangs out. It's a money planet. It's love. It's beauty. It's all of this. So, you know, what are you driving yourself towards that's going to feed your heart, that's going to feed your wallet, that's going to make you feel good? And that's what you really want to have illuminated, right? With the sun, illumination, external, entering Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. It's about really looking at that, right? And I'm going to address how the retrograde Venus might impact all of this. I'm definitely going to make a separate video on Venus just because it's worth it, and it's going to be hanging out. It's going to be a very interesting transit, right, through the end of the summer. So it's all good. Everything is good. But the moral of the story here for the 13th and 19th is change is happening. Lean into it. Let it happen. Understand that you need to release whatever you've needed to release for the past 2.5 years. Now, that's not everything. If you're in a beautiful relationship, you guys are going to be leveling up and really evolving into an even better level. So that's really great. If you're doing work that you really love and you haven't been impacted by all of this, this is going to be leveling you up into an even better space. But wherever there's been a pocket of like where you haven't been your true authentic self, like living your truth, that's going to be right here, front and center, and you're going to have to make that decision, and you're going to be pushed towards it. You're going to be pushed towards it. Yeah. So let's pull a couple of cards for the collective, and then I'm going to go and start. Okay, get the Six of Swords just popped out. I feel very weird not having you guys see my cards. By the way, that's why I do my readings the way I do, because I just think it's important that you see me shuffle and you see me pull. But for this collective one, just trust me. The deck's right here, everything that's coming out. So Six of Swords energy, moving away from toxicity. Moving away from something that doesn't work anymore, right? It's really to allow the change. It's to allow the change. Yeah, let's see what else we have here for you guys. Let's pull 4. Okay, we have the Four of Coins. 4 of Coins, yeah. So this is about, you know, a lot of you guys might be in a space where you're really holding on to your money, which I think is a good thing right now. Very protective of self. You know, it is kind of like right, we call it like the miserly energy, right? Where you're just in self-protect mode, though. I mean, there are different ways to be miserly, right? We could be that way with money, but the coins are also mental, emotional, and physical connection, as I always say. So you're very much, there's a moving away, there's going to be releasing, but there's also going to be this need to self-protect. And that's that Cancer energy, right? And the true North Node in Cancer. That's the Cancer energy. That's okay. That's okay. That is what it is. Guys, 10 of Swords. Cycle's over. It's done. One sword at a time over time. Right? It's time for that cycle to be done. Let it go. Whatever wasn't working, let it go. Move it on, man. It's a Mercury energy. It's about moving on. Remember, Mercury in alchemy is very transformative. It's transitional. It changes things in the ethers, right? So really allowing the change, letting that go and allowing the change. Page of Wands. Beautiful, excited new beginning, motivation. Really nice. We like the page. The page is a young'un of the court. There's a lot of fire, passion, excitement. But you have to allow the change. So you have to allow this first so that this could come in. Pretty straightforward, I'd say. And that's a good general message, right? Moving away from what doesn't work. You know it doesn't work. It's like in your belly right here. It's that thing that makes you feel uncomfortable when you think about it. You're going to be in a mode of self-protection because you know the cycle is ending. But you need to be very excited about a beautiful new cycle in your life that's about to happen. and it's happening. But the thing is, guys, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a very uncomfortable week because it's important, right? What you do this week is really going to drive a lot of what ends up rolling out over the rest of the year for you. So guys, that's what I have for you right now. Thank you so much for joining me. And again, I'm going to go and do the tarot for each of your signs for next week. As always, I do a mix of career and relationship. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great week. Bye-bye.